ॐ न सदासीन्नो सदासीत्तदानीम् नासीद्रजो नो व्योमा परो यत् किमावरीवः कुहकस्य शरमन्न अम्भः किमासीद् गहनम् गभीरम् न मृत्युरमृतन्दरहिना रात्र्या अन्न आसीत् प्रकेतः आनीदवादग्गस्वदया तदेकम् तस्माद्धान्यन्न परः किञ्चनासा तम आसीत् तमसा गूढमग्रे प्रकेतम् सलिलग सर्वमा इदम् तुच्छेनाभ्युपहितं यदासीत्.
Today we have with us a renowned political scientist, Professor Ashok Chausalkar. He was former head of the Department of Political Science in Shivaji University, Kolhapur, state of Maharashtra. He was also responsible or took great efforts in establishing Gandhi Study Center and Nehru Study Center in Shivaji University. His work has been appreciated and acknowledged by state of government of Maharashtra as well as some prestigious institutes, and he has been rewarded so many awards by these institutes. So, welcome sir.
Yes.
For this interview.
Thank you.
You are famous for your scholarship in political theory and thought, and especially in classical Indian and Greek political theory. But your expertise is not restricted merely to the academics. You were also associated and are associated with socio-political movements, and you are an editor of the prestigious magazine Samaj Prabodhan Patrika, which is associated with socio-political and economic issues. Sir, we would like to know main stages of development of your thought.
I come from Mufassil background. My father was a farmer. So, though he was a farmer, but we come from upper caste. Therefore, he had maintained a small library. And in that library, translations of Rigveda, Atharvaveda, some Upanishads, Mahabharata, and interestingly, there was a translation of On Liberty by Mill Stuart Mill, and that translation was published in 1896. So, these books were there, and I started reading these books when I was in school. So, there was some sort of interest as far as ancient Indian philosophy was concerned, and therefore, in the school days only I decided that I will do some work in the field of ancient Indian political thought and philosophy. When I joined college, I decided to do philosophy, but at that time in that Mufassil area, there was no facility for the study of philosophy. Therefore, I decided to study political science, and after graduating from the Yogeshwari Mahavidyalaya Amba Jogai, I joined Department of Civics and Politics, University of Mumbai, and there I decided to select a group of papers which were heavily philosophy oriented. So, for example, there was a paper on classics in political philosophy, another paper was on theory and practice of socialism, another paper was on history of political thought, and compulsory paper on political theory. So, out of 8 papers, there were 4 papers which were dedicated to political theory and political philosophy. And initially my teacher did not want me to do classics in political philosophy, but I insisted that I want to study these thinkers. There are 3 classics: Republic of Plato, Arthashastra of Kautilya, and Social Contract Theory of Rousseau. These 3 classes were studied they were taught by my teacher Dr. Usha Mehta, and I studied these 3 classics, and also I was interested in studying theory and practice of socialism, and because of all these things I had developed some sort of liking for political philosophy, and especially after the study of Kautilya's Arthashastra, I thought that I should do PhD in the field of ancient Indian political thought. Then I requested, when I decided to do PhD, I requested my teacher that she should allow me to do PhD on ancient Indian political thought. She said there are a lot of works on Kautilya's Arthashastra. It is better if you do some study on Shanti Parva. because political thought of Shanti Parva is equally important. So, I decided to do some work on Shanti Parva. Then she suggested that it is all right that you do your PhD on Shanti Parva, but it will be better if you make a comparative study of concept of dharma in the Shanti Parva and the concept of justice that is expounded by Plato in his Republic. So, therefore, I decided to make a comparative study of Plato's concept of justice and Mahabharata's concept of dharma, and I got the degree in 1979.
Very interesting, sir. Do you find any similarities between Plato's views as well as Kautilya's views? This is one thing. And secondly, especially ethics regarding morality, what do you, how do they deal with moral issues, moral issues as well as political issues, similarities as well as dissimilarities? We would like to hear your views, comparative views regarding this.
There are certain similarities as well as there are certain differences. The similarities are as far as the concept of three gunas in Sattva, Rajas and Tamas in the Sankhya philosophy, which was expounded in the Mahabharata, and Plato also talks about three qualities of the soul, that is prudence, valor and appetite. So, there is some sort of similarity between the three, and Mahabharata and Plato, both of them say that ultimately it is prudence or reason that reason controls the two other tendencies. Though both of them agree with these three qualities, the difference is that as far as Plato is concerned, Plato says that as far as the existence of these qualities in human soul are concerned, we have to determine the qualities of the dominance or non-dominance of the qualities in the person's soul with the help of education system. So, there is an elaborate education system, there is a system of higher education. On the basis of that only, the exact nature of soul is determined. As far as Indian system is concerned, there is no higher education system, there is no criterion to decide whether particular human soul has these qualities or not. It is assumed because a particular person is born in particular varna, therefore, he is having all these qualities and therefore, he is placed in a particular varna. So, this is a basic difference. Similarity is there. There is a similarity of division of 3 classes and 4 varnas, but the basic difference is that Plato develops higher education system to determine the exact class or varna of the person. In Indian system that is not there. Secondly, in Plato's theory there is a system of communism of family, there is a system of communism of property for the 2 classes of the society. So, that and there is also a method of eugenics. So, communism of property, communism of family and the concept of eugenics are missing as far as Indian tradition is concerned. We do not have concept of eugenics, we do not have concept of communism of private property and family, because as far as Plato's theory was concerned, it was basically developed to resolve a particular political problem that was faced by ancient Greek states, where the ruling class was deeply divided because of caste, because of class and because of family. So, Plato wanted to have a united ruling class which would bring the society together and which would establish an ideal state in the society. So, concept of ideal state was another thing, the rule by philosopher king, which was missing as far as Indian system was concerned. So, some similarities are there. The most important thing is the concept of dharma and the concept of justice. As far as concept of justice is concerned, Plato said that the essence of concept of justice is that one should do justice to his soul. That means, one should do his duties according to the call of his soul, according to the type of complexion of the different qualities, that complexion is there in his soul. On the basis of that only he should be true to his soul. In the Indian system also, the concept of swadharma implies that one should perform his duties on the basis of the nature of his soul, especially based upon sattva, rajas and tamas. So, these similarities are there, But essentially, as far as Indian concept is concerned, it is socially oriented. The society is more important thing as far as Indian system is concerned. The Greek system is politically oriented. Politics is more important for them. So therefore, how a proper citizen should be, one can say, trained, what is the role of that citizen in a particular city state, and why the philosopher king is necessary. Philosopher king is necessary to create an ideal state in the society, and for that only we have to sacrifice certain things. So there is no concept of philosopher king, and there is no concept of the ideal state, the type of concept that is expounded by Plato in his Republic. So these differences are there as well as similarities are there. But another important thing that I have discussed in my book, Nyaya and Dharma, is that there is another interpretation of the Republic of Plato. This interpretation is made by a famous political philosopher, Leo Strauss. Leo Strauss is of the opinion that in fact Plato did not want to expound the concept of ideal state. In fact, he wanted to show that this type of concept cannot be realized in the real life, and there are enough indications in the Republic of Plato to show that Plato in fact did not want to establish ideal state. He just wanted to show how it is not possible to establish ideal state, especially there is a simile of cave. In the simile of cave, he has shown that the person who is wise, person who is liberated from that shackles, and when he really saw the real sun, he has really seen the reality, and when he came back and tried to tell his people that what you believe as a sun is not true sun, I have really seen the sun. So people don't believe in him, and when he tried to persist, people killed him. So as far as the conflict is there, quarrel is there, the quarrel is between politics and philosophy. And Leo Strauss is of the opinion that there is a conflict. This is there in Aristotle's political thought also. Which is better, life of philosophy is better or life of politics is better? Life of politics will bring you glory, but it will not bring satisfaction to your soul. As far as life of politics is philosophy is concerned, that is long lasting, that will benefit you, and ultimately that will benefit society also. Leo Strauss said that what is the essence of republic, and especially Socrates is famous for his irony, and through that irony only he tried to show, Plato tried to show through the mouth of Socrates that what is the most dangerous thing in the society is certain individuals who think that they are superior, and they have some sort of moral superiority, and they think that we are better people, we are superior people, and it is our responsibility to bring one can say development of the people who are not really developed people. So this type of arrogance is there as far as our people are concerned, these elites in the society are concerned, and Socrates wanted to demonstrate, that is what Leo Strauss said, that this type of moral superiority is a very dangerous thing, because once that moral superiority is there, and when you think that by doing this only the entire society can be improved and people should be forced to do it, it is our responsibility to reform people even if they do not want. So this type of thing this type of policy has created all sorts of problems in the 20th century. We are having communism, we are having fascism, we are having Nazism, and just to realize the dreams of some political theorists, these people had decided to, one can say, channelize a large number of people. They created all sorts of problems for them because they wanted to realize the dream. So life of philosophy is therefore better than life of politics. Life of politics creates all sorts of problems for the people who are not interested in all these things. In the Mahabharata, in the Aranyaka Parva and in Shanti Parva also, there is a lot of discussion on the nature of dharma and all these things. So there is one can say ideological conflict between Yudhishthira, Arjuna and Draupadi. So, Yudhishthira is trying to follow the, Yudhishthira is trying to expound the ideology that life of philosophy is better than life of politics. One cannot pursue the politics in this manner, because politics is based upon some sort of theory of retribution. You have to retaliate. If some injustice is done, you have to retaliate. Philosopher may not retaliate. Philosopher wants to create, reconcile the conflicts. In politics, you may not reconcile the conflicts. Sometimes you may encourage them. So, therefore, Yudhishthira says that philosophy of reconciliation is based upon the, one can say, philosophy, not politics. So, life of philosophy is better. So, these are the similarities as well as differences.
Okay, so in Greek thought as well as in classical Indian thought, more importance is given to morality as well as philosophy. So, basis should be that, and on that basis political theory as well as social theory has to be based. As against this sophist and here Kauravas, let us say, they were propounding different kind of philosophy.
So, that is a entire republic is an argument against the, one can say, against the sophistic philosophy, especially philosophy expounded by Polemarchus, Thrasymachus, Glaucon, Adeimantus. He expounded his
might is right, the kind of philosophy they propounded, that is might is right type of,
that is Thrasymachus.
So political power.
And Yudhishthira also says the same thing in these dialogues, that this is not correct. If an eye is taken for an eye, so there will not be, very few people will have eyes then. That is what he says. Normally people don't do it. If people start doing it, very few people will have eyesight. They will lose their eyes if this policy is followed.
So broader humanistic view was propounded by Yudhishthira. Can we say that, say Plato's idea of justice as well as notion of dharma from Mahabharata or classical Indian thought comes more as a regulative principle of organization or order. And in modern as well as contemporary thought, the way we understand the notion of justice is more has more economic connotations. So, can we make this kind of this differentiation?
In ancient philosophies, whether it is an Indian philosophy or Greek philosophy, the concept of justice was considered as a organizing principle. The society is organized on the basis of justice or dharma. And therefore, they thought that with justice means your innate goodness that is there, and justice, that Plato has said that as the sweetness is the essence of sugar, sweetness is the essence of sugar cane, similarly justice is the quality of human soul. So, it is inherent. Similarly, in Mahabharata also they say that dharma is inherent, and therefore it is not an external thing, it is part of our soul, part of our being. So, this was the position, and on the basis of that they tried to develop their social and political philosophy. The another similarity between the two philosophies was that ultimately, as far as 9th chapter of the Republic was concerned, so there is a cycle of change in the states and constitutions, and the best constitution is, and best man and the best constitution is the ideal state. And the worst constitution and the worst man is, tyrant is the worst man, and tyranny is the worst type of constitution. And in tyranny, tyrant is an enemy of human society. He is a wolf in human form. So, ultimately Plato takes that position, that ultimately when the state gets corrupted, corrupt state produces corrupt men, corrupt ruling class, and corrupt ruling class is represented by the tyrant, who cannot have self control, who is his own enemy as well as enemy of society. So, he is a wolf in human form. So, that moral position, very strong moral position Plato has taken. Therefore, in his Open Society and its enemies, Karl Popper has said that Plato is an enemy of open society, but Karl Popper has not taken this fact into consideration, that in fact Plato was a great opponent of tyranny and dictatorship. In Mahabharata also, the king who doesn't have self-control, the king who exploits the people, king who creates terror in the minds of the people, he is a wolf in human form. Same simile is used in Mahabharata also, that he is a wolf in human form and people get scared of him. They say that the essence of dharma is fearlessness, or abhayatva is the essence of dharma. That society where there is principle of abhayatva, okay, nobody has a fear, there is total fearlessness in the society, that is the ideal society according to Hindu concept of dharma, and Mahabharata has expounded it. Especially there is a dialogue between Tuladhar and Jajale. In that dialogue they have explained this, that ultimately abhayatva is the essence of dharma. So as far as modern concept of justice is concerned, so justice that is fitting together the claims of different sections of the society. Modern concept is essentially distributive. Distributive in the sense that you have to fit together different claims. It cannot be equal distribution of resources. You have to distribute the resources on the basis of the needs of the society. And there, on the basis of that only, John Rawls has expounded his concept of liberty, especially his second principle is there, which is very important, that ultimately inequalities should be organized in such a manner that those people who are least developed are benefited. So that type of concept of justice was expounded by John Rawls, and in welfare economics it was used by people. So different, one can say, versions of justice are there as far as current political theory is in Western political science is concerned.
You referred to Abhay, notion of Abhay. When we think of Plato's concept of justice, there also wisdom, courage and temperance. These are the virtues associated with his notion of justice.
Soul,
So these are again the similarities that we come across.
Especially their position against tyranny. Both of them.
See, referring to that point, Plato has, the way Plato has written the dialogue Republic, he has also written law. And some people are of the opinion that the kind of openness of thought we come across in Republic, when we come to law, he is actually, there he discusses how to actually organize, say the theory or say the order of society, politics, economics, and the kind of openness of thought we come across in Republic is not found in laws. So is it, it is possible that when Popper is criticizing Plato, he might also be referring to the dialogue law as well?
But the Republic is the, I think,
the main
represents the wonderful best flowering of Plato's genius, and there he wanted to establish his own theory of justice. And the main question in the Republic was, because he was asked by Adeimantus, he was asked by Glaucon, his brothers, now you prove that justice is more desirable than injustice, because people are telling you should be just, but you should not be just, but you should try to show that you are just. Religion helps unjust people, society helps unjust people. If unjust person is successful, he has all the qualities according to society. So now you uphold the cause of justice. That is the major challenge that is given by Polemarchus, Thrasymachus, Adeimantus and Glaucon, and Plato tries to defend justice on the basis of that. As far as laws and other politicus and other books are concerned, there he is trying to practically discuss how the Greek society, Greek states can be organized, what should be the rights of different organs of society. So there he is not talking about ideal state. So therefore, they are important books as far as Plato's political thought is concerned, but I think the best is Republic and the other dialogues regarding political obedience, obligation, apology and other things, Crito, apology, they are also important. There the concept of obligation is discussed. So Republic and Crito and apology are important. These dialogues I don't think are very important.
Okay.
Socrates is sentenced to death, and at that time the problem of political obligation is there. And Socrates, his disciples say that, why are you obeying the order of the state? It is unjust order, you know that order, this order is not correct order, we will help you and we will
You can escape.
So Socrates refuses. Why does he refuse? What is his apology for that? So that is a very important thing, and one of the important, I think, statement as far as theory of political obligation is concerned.
So, when you are talking, the terms that come to my mind are Shreyas, Preyas.
Yeah.
It's in a way conflict between Preyas and Shreyas, and sophists are advocating Preyas and Plato is advocating Shreyas, but at the same time showing that there is no basic conflict between Preyas and Shreyas. That was in a way Plato's attempt, whereas sophists were interested in showing that these are two opposites. If you have Shreyas, then you don't have Preyas. And Plato, by referring to his theory of soul, tries to establish that there is no basic conflict between Preyas and Shreyas, and similar kind of approach we have in our classical Indian philosophy as well.
Ultimately, the Shreyas dominates.
Yeah. When we come to modern Indian political thought, you have written books on so many modern Indian political thinkers like Phule, Gandhi, Agarkar, Tilak, Bhagat Singh. So, how far do you believe that their thoughts were influenced and inspired by classical Indian political thought, and how far they were influenced by modern Renaissance philosophy, political philosophy?
There were three phases as far as development of modern Indian political thought was concerned. The first phase was up to 1920. From the Renaissance period up to 1920 with the death of Tilak. The second phase was up to 1947, Mahatma Gandhi's career and all these things. And third phase was after independence. So, in the first phase, there is the influence of classical Indian political philosophy. In the second phase, influence gets weakened, and in third phase, that influence is not there. With the development of, one can say, political ideas in India, gradually influence of classical political philosophy one can say faded. Because there is a commentary on Bhagavad Gita. Commentaries were written by Tilak, by Gandhi, by Vinoba, by Aurobindo, Vivekananda also talked about it. But there is no commentary on Bhagavad Gita after 1920. There is no major commentary on Bhagavad Gita after 1920. And after 1947, Bhagavad Gita is not at all discussed. Bhagavad Gita doesn't remain a reference point as far as political thought was concerned. So, classical Indian philosophy influenced Indian political thinkers in the first phase. Second phase, some element was there. For example, Dr. Ambedkar's concept of Dhamma, his acceptance of Buddhism, some principles he accepted, but basically his agenda was a modernist agenda as far as Dr. Ambedkar's agenda was concerned. Other thinkers like Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, M.N. Roy, the socialist thinkers like Jai Prakash Narayan, all these people were not interested in classical Indian political tradition. So, that is there. I think because now our agenda changed, our priorities changed. In the Renaissance period, we wanted to claim our tradition, we wanted to shape our future in the light of our tradition. But subsequently now we have understood what is our tradition, now we have to move ahead. And if we have to establish a new society on the basis of new principles, we will have to have modern science, modern social science, modern philosophy. Now on the basis of that only we will have to organize our society, like secularism, all these things. And then in third phase, socialism became important, secularism became important. So these, I think these are the considerations. The major thing was that how to reconcile the claims of nation, state and civil society in a democratic polity. And towards that end only, most of the thinkers express their ideas. In that dilemma could be seen in the Gita Rahasya of Lokmanya Tilak. Lokmanya Tilak has written Gita Rahasya by making a comparative study of Eastern and Western philosophies, and he wanted to show the superiority of Indian philosophy. Everything was there, and then in the concluding parts of his commentary, he says that now we cannot completely rely upon Indian tradition only. We cannot completely rely upon our ancient wisdom. Now we will have to take up modern things. We will have to have nation state. We will have to have democracy. We will have to have science and new technology and all these things. So that one can say synthesis of both was
need of the time as well.
Was need of the time.
And what about Gandhi?
Gandhi was trying to negotiate.
Okay.
And Gandhi was trying to negotiate modernity in his own way. Gandhi did not, one can say, embrace modernity the way Tilak embraced it. But Gandhi has his own modernity, and on the basis of that, he wanted to recast Indian society. Gandhi was greatly influenced by Western tradition. Gandhi was greatly influenced by the basic principles of experiment that was there in the Western tradition. Therefore, while expounding the concept of satyagraha, he made many experiments, and on the basis of that only he expounded his theory of satyagraha. In his last days, he carried out some experiments in the brahmacharya. So there also that Gandhi's, one can say, desire to have experiments. That desire is there. That Western tradition is dominant as far as Gandhi's methodology was concerned, especially his moral fervor and all these things were concerned. Now he wants to reconcile the Western and the Indian traditions. What he did not like in Western tradition is their materialism, their conquest of other countries and all these things. So therefore he said that I am not opposed to Western society as such, I am opposed to Western civilization which gave birth to capitalism and colonialism, imperialism, which has enslaved a large number of people. That I hate this, I am not hating Englishmen or I am not hating Western society. So he thought that the essence of Jesus Christ's teaching is forgotten by these people. These people are after money, power and empires. So he wanted to free Western society of all these things. And therefore Gandhi's modernity was a different modernity. And he wanted to bring about the change from within. And Indian method of non-violent change he advocated. So therefore Gandhi needs to be again comprehensively studied.
Do you think that there is some relation between Jaina philosophy and Gandhi's thoughts as well as actions?
There was influence of Jain philosophy on Gandhi. So there was one Jain scholar. He was in fact a jeweler, Raichand Bhai. Rajchandra Bhai and Gandhi had a close relationship. And Gandhi had many questions on Jain philosophy or Indian philosophy. And Rajchand Bhai he didn't have much of education, but he was a genius. And he used to give different type of answers to Gandhi, and these answers satisfied many of the problems that were haunting Gandhi's mind. So Jain philosophy, especially non-violence and the 6 vratas, these the 10 vratas, which Gandhi talked about. So many of these vratas are from Jain philosophy.
Or his notion of truth. Say Bhikkhu Parekh has written one book on Gandhi, and the way he explores the notion of satyagraha, we find some of Gandhiji, we find some similarities between Jaina philosophy, Syadvada. So do you agree with that sort of interpretation?
I don't agree.
Okay.
As far as Syadvada is concerned, Syadvada and Anekantavada are based upon different philosophical positions. These philosophical positions of Jainas were not acceptable to Gandhi, though he did not say it openly, because Jain philosophy is essentially an atheistic philosophy. Gandhi's moorings were deeply rooted in Indian philosophy, especially Vedanta philosophy. So Gandhi was essentially Vedantin, and he was trying to achieve liberation. He said that ultimately his goal was to achieve liberation. Moksha he wanted to achieve, and in his commentary on the Gita, especially Anasakti Yoga, there he makes it clear, and more, one can say more clear, we can have better quality if we read the diaries of Mahadev Bhai Desai. So there Gandhi tries to give novel interpretation of Gita,
Okay.
and through that novel interpretation of Gita, he tries to show that in fact the ultimate goal of human being is moksha. But before that also we will have to establish a society where there is a peace. Gandhi in Anasakti Yoga said that ultimately the true Bhagavad Gita did not teach us to fight war. Bhagavad Gita taught us to acquire, one can say, control over our senses. There has to be a detachment, completely detachment. When person is completely anasakta or completely detached, when person has developed some sort of atmopamya buddhi, that means he treats other people as his own or as a part of his soul. So when these two qualities are there, Bhagavad Gita cannot teach you violence. Bhagavad Gita cannot ask you to fight war for the sake of kingdom. That is not there. In the Kurukshetra at that time, considering the development of that society, it is possible that for that imperfect society war was needed. But today essence is that mankind is increasingly isolating violence from non-violence, and it is increasingly becoming non-violent. And therefore, in today's non-violent society, war is not there. War is not the option. Violence is not the option. And that is the teaching of Bhagavad Gita. And Mahabharata clearly shows that you fought such a big war, but only 7-8 people survived. That clearly showed the futility of war. And he himself, Yudhishthira himself, said that yes, this war was useless. Both of us lost. We also lost the war. So that is the essence. It is a text against violence. It is a text against war, and it is again there is a restatement of entire teaching of Gita by Gandhi. So Gandhi's understanding of Gita was different from earlier people, even different from Vinoba Bhave, who was his student.
Just a question came to my mind. Plato advocated this notion of philosopher king, where political and philosophical essential qualities will come together. Do you agree with this notion? Is it possible to have such a king or such a leader, or can we say Yudhishthir has those qualities?
A philosopher, as far as we have two concepts. One concept is the concept of philosopher king, and there is another is concept of Rajarshi in Indian tradition. As far as philosopher king was concerned, philosopher king, the person was made philosopher king who was excellent in the studies in philosophy, who has mastered mathematics, who has mastered the dialectics, and he is the best, the person who is excellent or the best among the students in philosophy was made philosopher king. And the basic purpose of making a particular person philosopher king was that he had no personal interest. He is going to serve the people. He will not serve himself, but he is going to serve the people. Now Leo Strauss says that philosopher king is not willing to rule. So by asking philosopher king to rule, you are doing injustice to philosopher king, because he wants to pursue the life of philosophy. Now Plato says that it is true, in Socrates and Plato, the Republic says it is true that philosopher king is not interested. He is interested in living the life of philosophy only, but in the present context, for the sake of society, for the sake of his poor brethren, he will have to accept the rulership, and even if he is doing injustice to his soul, let him do injustice to his soul, but let him come down and rule over the people, because that is the only, one can say, alternative available for the ailing Greek society or Greek city-states. As far as Indian concept of Rajarshi is concerned, Rajarshi is the one person who is excellent in philosophy, who has exercised self-control, and he can establish his rule over the people, and he Raja Kalasya Karanam, because king is the maker of the age, and if he behaves properly, his kingdom will also get improved. That concept is there. But there is another problem. In the Indian tradition, there are two concepts, and that is explained by Acharya Javadekar, Brahmarshi and Rajarshi. Brahmarshi is a person who doesn't use violence. Rajarshi is a person who uses violence. So, Brahmarshi is an example of perfect man. Rajarshi is not an example of perfect man. When Rajarshi, while performing his duties, kills a person, he kills a person, not only person, but good qualities in him. A person represents both bad and good qualities. But for the sake of few bad qualities, you kill a person with good qualities. So, that is, therefore, he is not an example of perfect human being. As far as Rajarshi is concerned, Rajarshi Brahmarshi is concerned, without using violence, without using this, as a washerman removes dirt from the clothes without causing any harm to its color. Similarly, evil things in the human soul are removed by the Brahmarshi by using the non-violent methods. So, Brahmarshi is the ideal human being, not Rajarshi. That is the Indian concept.
Indian concept.
So, therefore, philosopher king is second highest according to our tradition.
Okay. Yeah, it comes closer to Rajarshi. Your area of interest for research, and what is it that at present you are pursuing?
Yeah, I pursued 4 areas: ancient Indian political thought and Greek political thought, comparative study. Second was, as you have discussed, modern Indian political thought. Third was the problem of political resistance. What are the methods used by people to resist against the state? That is the third area. And fourth area is Marxism, post-Marxism. So, as far as this is concerned, I wrote almost 3 or 4 books on resistance in the Indian tradition, ancient Indian tradition, as well as modern Indian tradition. Recently, my book is published on authority and the forms of political protest in Indian tradition. Earlier, I have made a comparative study of Kautilya's theory of rebellion and Aristotle's theory of rebellion, a comparative study. What are the differences as well as similarities in their ideas? In the Indian tradition, since one can say Vedic period, there is a method of revolt against the king, unjust king. So, in the Jatakas, in the Rajatarangini of Kallana, and in the Katha Sagar of Somadeva, we have several examples. And on the basis of these texts, I have written this book, and I have tried to show that different methods followed by Indian people to protest against the king. So, in Rajatarangini, there are different methods. Gandhi drew all these methods from this tradition. For the Rajatarangini, I will give 2 examples. In the Rajatarangini, when state policies were against the people, when excessive taxes were levied on the society, when ministers and kings have become unjust, the Brahmins in the society used to offer fast unto death. And they observe fast. Some 10-15 Brahmins sat together, and in protest against that, they observe fast. And if after that also, if government or the state did not relent, they used to commit suicide by jumping in the fire. And at a time, there are examples that 10 to 15 Brahmins killed themselves in protest against unjust policies of the government. So, Kashmir has this tradition. Therefore, now also when young boys throw stones at the security forces, this is the tradition. Second example is, this is interesting. Second example is that there was a young man and the king was unjust and that minister was also unjust. So, Brahmins offered dharna, they one can say observe fast. Some Brahmins committed suicide by jumping in the fire. but king did not relent. He supported the minister.
Okay.
So there is a dialogue between the two, his brother, a young man's brother, and this young man. So what should be done? So he said that we are Brahmins, we should not take recourse to violence, and it is not necessary. It is there, but Brahmins are doing it, let us wait and see. He said, how long are you going to wait? I want to assassinate the minister. He said that when the situation comes, you have to do it. Even Buddha punished Devadatta. Even Jinnah punished dragon. So in this situation, Jain and Buddha
Thinkers.
people also, these founders of their tradition also took recourse to violence when the situation so demanded. I am going to do it. So then brother said, all right, if this is the situation, you do it. So he went and he attacked that minister. Minister got injured. And there was a melee, and there was an opportunity for him to run away. He could have run away, but he, like Bhagat Singh, he stood there. And he said that I have I have killed him because he is unjust. I have killed him. He said, arrest him. So they tried to arrest him. They tried, but he fought, injured some people, and died while fighting. So then his body was taken to the king. King said that you just see what he has he written anything? Is any some paper on his body? So here there was one strap.
Acha.
And there he has written, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. So when this type of situation arises, we have to take recourse to violence to save dharma. So these are the traditions as far as fight against tyranny is concerned. So those things I have discussed in my book, which was recently published.
So how is it that you find out these books, the references? How do you get that?
Books are available. Raj Tarangini is available, Katha Sari Sagar is available, Katha Marathi, it is available in Marathi, it is available in English also. Raj Tarangini's 3 translations are available.
Okay.
Ranjit Pandit, Vijayalakshmi Pandit's husband has done 1 translation.
Okay.
Durga Bhagat has done translation of Katha Sari Sagar. So the different methods are, I have just given 2 methods.
Yes.
Even young women, all these people protested and they made king change their policies also.
You have done so many comparative studies.
Yeah.
So can you spell out some principles of comparative study? How comparative study should be done?
Comparative study has to be done by studying both the tradition in its as far as original sources of these traditions are concerned. My studies were based upon the texts. Republic and Shanti Parva, these texts I decided to study, and I made a close study of these texts, and on the basis of that I made a comparison. Similarly, politics of Aristotle and Arthashastra of Kautilya, these 2 texts I selected and I made a very close study of these texts. There are 3 principles as far as comparative study is concerned. First, we have to decide why do we want to make a comparative study. There has to be some similarities. Differences will be there, but before we decide to undertake comparative study, we have to see that there are some similarity. There are, on the basis of that similarities only you can go ahead. Second thing is that the contexts are important. When we are studying Republic of Plato, we have to study the political situation in ancient Greek republics, city-states, and the society, culture, economy, and on the basis of that only the Republic of Plato has been written by Plato. Similarly, the political situation in India, what was the period when Shanti Parva of Mahabharata was written, what were the problems that were there in the society, because ultimately a book is written to resolve the problems, contemporary problems. They want to suggest certain ways and means, and on the basis of that only they write, study the situation. And now, as far as Republic of Plato was concerned, the problem was that of integration of the society and state, because sophist teaching, especially sophist materialism, was responsible for one can say weakening of moral fiber of Greek society. So he wanted to recover that, and he wanted to establish an ideal society which is based upon concept of dharma. So, therefore, his challenge was upholding the cause of justice. In the Indian situation, here the problem was that of multiplicity of different societies, sections, tribal elements, and there is a continuous integration of tribal elements in the Indian society. So, on the basis of new moral considerations, on the basis of new moral principles, we have to bring together all these distinct societies, and they have to have a stamp of dharma. And for that purpose only, their moral upbringing is necessary, and for that purpose state should be organized in such a manner that ultimately the stamp of dharma will be one can say pressed as far as their total social behavior was concerned. So, resolving the contradictions in the society by synthesizing their elements as well as principles of dharma. So, that was the problem in Shanti Parva. So that second thing is that these two things have to be studied, context, socio-economic, political context. And third thing is, what are the similarities, what are the differences, why these solutions are suggested by them, why these similarities are there and why these differences are there, and what is the relevance of these texts, classics as far as our contemporary problems are there. So, with these three principles I tried to study.
Say the way you have dealt with these philosophers, philosophical thoughts, political thoughts, it seems that you feel that as far as these thoughts are concerned, they didn't have merely academic value, but they are in a way responsible for the conditions in society, like resolving conflicts, etc., etc. So, do you think that these methods which have been elaborated and discussed by earlier thinkers, both Western and Eastern, are still, they have still relevance?
These methods,
because especially in today's scenario, what kind of role political science as well as philosophical discourses they are supposed to play?
No, essence of philosophy, the meaning of philosophy is love of wisdom. So, wisdom is needed for the wisdom is needed as far as society's development is concerned. Wisdom is needed to guide the society, because societies are organized in the past on certain principles, and when the society is developed, these principles need to be continuously examined. These principles need to be continuously, one can say, reformed, and therefore philosophy is needed to guide the society as far as the principles are concerned. Now, the Vedic principles were there, or the earlier during the period of Solon in Greek society, those principles were there, where the principle of retribution was the essence of justice, an eye for eye. We will punish the person for the crime he has committed. But now, in the Plato's concept of justice, that concept is not there. The concept is developed in different manner. In Indian system also, concept is developed in different manner, because now dharma means the abhayatva. Dharma means one can see purity of your work, purity of your mind, purity of your behavior. And essentially, when a man becomes pure, he not only purifies his own family, his own soul, his own family, he purifies society also. So, therefore, philosophy is necessary for the improvement of society, because philosophy has three functions. Philosophy provides epistemology. With the help of epistemology only we can understand the reality, because it is a science of knowledge, method of knowledge. Second thing of philosophy is that we have to distinguish between, as Plato said, episteme and doxa, that is philosophy and knowledge, opinion,
belief or opinion.
Belief. So, we have to continuously, one can say, isolate belief from the knowledge. Knowledge is more important. So, philosophy is after knowledge, and it tries to help us acquire knowledge. And thirdly, it wants to depict the ideal society. What should be the ideal situation? Even if that ideal society cannot be established today, it will be established in future, but it is a goalpost. Society should try to move towards that, and therefore philosophy helps us do all these things, Western philosophy as well as Indian philosophy. And Gandhi's method of non-violent resistance against the evil is an important method, which is one can say humane method of dealing with the contradictions in the society. You can resolve it through the non-violent struggle. Struggle will be there. There cannot be, one can say, resolution of conflict, resolution of contradictions
Forever.
Yeah, forever by following the only non-violent persuasion. You can persuade, you can try to change the heart of the people, but before that you will have to struggle, and struggle is essence of your life, and Gandhi has laid emphasis upon that. So therefore, whether it is Gandhi or Tolstoy or Thoreau or modern thinkers who like John Rawls on civil disobedience, they are also saying the same thing, that ultimately we will have to have civil method of resistance to fight against injustice in the society. If methods are not civil, if methods are violent, it is possible that we may not be in a position to resolve the problem. Problem may get more complicated and society may get more violent. So I think because of that only study of philosophy is necessary. Kautilya in his Arthashastra said that the study of philosophy improves his thought, speech and action. Thought, speech and action. So this is, I think, very perfect statement.
Perfect statement, correct. It seems that your approach from the very beginning was interdisciplinary.
Yeah.
So do you think that even amongst our teachers and students also this interdisciplinary approach, now it is something which is more important? Do you feel that? Do you agree with that? And how to develop it among students?
The interdisciplinary approach is necessary because originally all the branches of knowledge are same only. It is for the convenience of our study that we have made the classified and made the divisions. So taking, now there are two things. If you want to develop a particular discipline, you have to develop the specialization. And specialization gives birth to specific hardened, one can say, discipline. Specific discipline gets hardened and that its areas become, boundaries become very strict.
Definite.
Definite and strict. But then there is no escape from this. Like if you want to develop the knowledge, different branches of knowledge, that is there. And second important thing is that if you study particular phenomenon in isolation, if you study it from the political point of view, from the economic point of view, from the social point of view, it will not be possible for you to understand the reality in totality. So ultimately our purpose is to understand the reality in totality. So that if we want to understand the reality in totality, we will have to have interdisciplinary approach. So interdisciplinary approach doesn't mean multidisciplinary approach.
Yes.
Multidisciplinary approach means you study different disciplines and put their viewpoints together. That is not the case. Interdisciplinary approach is interpenetration of different disciplines. This interpenetration is very important. With the help of this interpenetration only, economics should penetrate politics, politics should penetrate sociology, sociology should penetrate philosophy, and on the basis of that we can have a better understanding of the reality. So that is a very difficult thing to do, but unless we do it successfully, it will not be possible. We will not be in a position to succeed. It is said by Professor K.J. Shah, a great philosopher from Karnataka University, Harvard, that in Kautilya's Arthashastra, Kautilya has developed the interdisciplinary science of human development. He said that there is a discussion in Kautilya's Arthashastra on 4 sciences: Anvikshiki, Trayi, Varta and Dandaniti. Now Manu says that Anvikshiki is not necessary, we should study only theology, economics and politics. Kautilya, then Brahaspati said that study of theology is not necessary, we should study only Varta and Dandaniti. And Shukra says that these 3 sciences need not be studied, we should study politics only. So why should we study politics? Professor K.J. Shah says that there Shukra says that all sciences are included in politics, and through the perspective of politics, we can study all the sciences. So that type of, though it was not developed, but that insight was there in Kautilya's Arthashastra. This is the opinion of Professor K.J. Shah. So it is a very difficult thing to do, but we have to do it if we want to see the reality in totality.
It seems that though formally you were associated with the Department of Political Science, you were always in a way we can say student of both political thought as well as philosophy, and in you we have this very good say togetherness, harmony of politics and philosophy. Just one question I would like to ask you, that which political theorist or philosopher is close to your ideas, to your mind, either from say Western philosophy or politics or India?
Now, these philosophy and politics are the two, I will say they are the closest disciplines. They are closest disciplines in the sense that there are papers which are similar in both the disciplines. For example, you are having history of philosophy and we are having history of political thought. The thinkers are the same.
Most of them.
Most of them are the same. And as far as classics are concerned, classics are the same. Modern Indian philosophy, I think maybe at least 50 to 60% people are the same. So there is a close relationship between the two. So therefore, political philosophers say that politics is practical philosophy or politics is applied philosophy. It is a branch of philosophy. It is applied philosophical principles are applied in political affairs. So there is such a close similarity between the two. So there are a large number of, one can say, philosophers who influenced Rumi, Plato, Aristotle, Rousseau. These are the three important philosophers who, and Karl Marx. These are four important philosophers who made contribution, great contribution as far as development of political philosophy is concerned. In the Indian context, it is Mahatma Gandhi, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. They also made great contribution as far as development of political philosophy was concerned. So what I will say is that these thinkers are important. I cannot mention one thinker, but their concerns are important, and on their main Marxist concept of, one can say, future society, and especially the neo-Marxists, the way neo-Marxists try to analyze, especially scholars from Frankfurt School or Herbert Marcuse or Antonio Gramsci. These thinkers try to analyze the problems of modern society from a different perspective, and they try to put forward an alternative to the Jürgen Habermas. So therefore, that is also equally important. The moral concerns of Mahatma Gandhi and Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru are important, and how the society has to be organized on the basis of consent of the people, Rousseau is important, and the moral concerns of Aristotle and Plato are equal, Kautilya and Plato are equally important. So therefore, issues are important, and on the basis of those issues only I try to study political thought.
Okay. Would you like to give any message or advice to our young teachers and students?
Young students should read the texts in origin. Original text should be studied. If they want to study Plato, they should study Republic. If they want to study Gandhi, they should study Hind Swaraj. If they want to study Nehru, they should study Discovery of India. If they want to study Rousseau, they should study Social Contract. Because if we study the original text, we have a freedom to interpret in our own way. Normally, commentaries represent their own opinion. Commentaries represent opinions of those commentators. So that is the first thing. Second thing, they should not make sweeping conclusions. They not sweeping conclusions. They should not pass very hasty remarks as far as nature of political and philosophical ideas of these thinkers are concerned. They should give deep thought as far as these ideas are concerned. And thirdly, what are the relevant ideas as far as our society is concerned? It is not that only for the sake of its utility we should study philosophy or politics. Study of politics and philosophy is necessary to develop our own personality. That is the first important thing. But second important thing is, along with that also, ultimately in what way this is related to the problems faced by our society and how we can resolve our problems with the help of these ideas. So, contemporary relevance has to be understood. Yeah, that is not the only criterion I will say, but one of the considerations young people should have as far as this is concerned, but they should study philosophy. As Kautilya has said, it improves thought, speech and action, and Kautilya said that philosophy is Sarva Vidya Pradeep. It throws light on all disciplines. Once you study philosophy, you understand what is right and what is wrong in different disciplines. Therefore, it should be studied.
Thank you very much, sir.
Not, madam.
I thank you from bottom of my heart for this dialogue. This dialogue was organized by the Department of Philosophy and E-Content Development from Savitribai Phule Pune University. In this dialogue, you have given exposition of so many ideas, so many aspects of political philosophy. In a way, you have pointed out the continuity between the classical, modern and contemporary political philosophy. So, you have enriched not only me, but our audience as well. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
ॐ न सदासीन्नो सदासीत् तदानीं नासीद्रजो नो व्योमा परो यत् किमावरीवः कुहकस्य शरमन्न अम्भः किमासीद् गहनं गभीरम्